Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but since the Bruen decision, the left has gone absolutely overboard. Every single state that is controlled by Democrats is basically in a race to see who can come up with the worst possible gun control and try and beat out other state governors to show the rest of the country that they hate your rights more than the other one. I mean, it's just absolutely bonkers to watch this. I mean, we're seeing stuff happen in New Mexico and Illinois and New York and California and so many other states. But today we're going to be talking about a new bill that would essentially completely end the Second Amendment in one state. Hey, real quick before we get started, I've got some of the best subscribers on the internet, hands down, some of the most supportive people that you will ever find. So if you are not a subscriber, make sure you join the community by hitting that subscribe button. That little bell notification will let you know when new videos come out, and a thumbs up is always appreciated. And jump down below in the comments. That's a great way to join the conversation. So with that being said, let's get to it. Okay, so let's go and talk about what's going on here. So the bill that we're talking about today that was just presented for introduction is HB 1902 out of the great state of Washington. The same state that just recently said if you have a semi-automatic with a detachable magazine, we're now going to call it something else, totally made up, and ban it. If you have something that can hold more than 10 freedom seeds, forget it, we're going to ban that as well. All for your own protection, obviously. But this is a state that has recently decided that they're also going to go overboard and decide to take everybody's rights away. So let's talk about what HB 1902 actually does. Well, HB 1902 is a new permitting scheme. Now, this permitting scheme is pretty intense, as a matter of fact. It says that you have to acquire a permit from the state of Washington before you can even practice your Second Amendment right. At that point, it's not really a right anymore. It's a privilege that's granted and can be revoked by the state. So that's why I say it completely eliminates the Second Amendment and turns it from a right to a privilege. Now, there's a lot going on with HB 1902. It's over 70 pages, but let me just go ahead and dive into some of the basics here. So before you would even go into a shop to get anything or whatever, before you even go into a shop, you have to go and you have to get fingerprinted. You have to give up all of your personal identifying information. You have to get training. There's going to be a required training amount. There's going to be extensive background checks. There's going to be psychological evaluations. I mean, there is going to be a lot involved with just getting that permit to purchase. Now, here's the other thing too, and something that you might miss if you look through this legislation. It actually says that in this, once you sign for that permit, okay, so let's just say that you've gone through the entire process. You've done your training, you've done everything you need to do, and you're signing for that application for a permit. That application signature that you just signed is actually a signature for a waiver to your medical records as well. So by signing your name at the bottom of that application, you're actually allowing the state to access your medical records, your mental health and physical health medical records, so that they can examine those prior to deciding whether or not they're going to approve or deny your application. So there's a lot going on here. You're going to have to pay for absolutely everything. There's going to be application fees. You're going to have to pay for the training. You're going to have to pay for the fingerprints. You're going to have to pay a ton of money up front before you even have a chance to get what you want. Now, the sad part is there's nothing really new or unique about this. When you have states that are controlled by the left, they like to copy and paste laws from other states or federal laws that maybe didn't pass at the federal level, so they'll try and bring it to the state level. And so they're basically trying to do what Illinois does with their FOID card. So they're trying to bring that into the Washington area. Now, the thing is, like I said before, this can be revoked. Not only that, it's going to take a while before you could actually get your permit. So let's say that you finish your entire process, you've signed for it, you paid all your fees, everything's in, and now you submit your application. According to this, it could take upwards of 60 days. Now, they're saying that in general terms, it could take up to 30 days. But if there's issues and they're trying to look into somebody's background or something like that, they do give themselves an additional 30 days to look into that before they approve or deny your permit. So we're talking about a potential 60-day wait, 2 months wait before you can even go get something. That is a 60-day delay on your rights that Washington wants to place on the people. Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. Everything just takes 30 days, right? Nobody ends up with that extra 30 days, making it 60. It's just 30 days. That is your right delayed by 30 days. And a right delayed is a right denied. So not only do they want you to get a permit, but they're going to deny your right for a 30-day period while they try and figure things out. Now, the other thing is that when you go to get something, everything about you and what you got, what you purchased, what you have, the serial numbers, the type, the model, everything is going to be going to the state. So obviously when you go in, you're going to hand them your card. All of that data and that information is going to be sent to the state, where the state runs its own background check and also checks with the NICS system. But the thing is that that information is then collected by the state, and that, believe it or not, out of all the people, that information is going to be controlled by the Treasury Department. So the Treasury Department is going to have all of your information on everything that you just did. So this creates a background check, it creates a registry, it creates a permit. And again, from what I can see, since it's electronically sent to the state, that's going to be electronically searchable database that the state of Washington is going to have on anybody who uses their permit or wants to get something in the state. I mean, this goes far and above just, a permit to purchase. This exceeds just about everything. Now, post Bruen, this doesn't surprise me all that much, because when you back a wild animal into a corner, what do? They tend to attack. They don't have any other choice. And so that's what you're seeing in all these different states. We got SB2 coming up, the carry bill in California. That's a post Bruen thing. You got New Mexico, who's now looking at some of the laws that they're trying to pass up there in Congress, but no way it's actually going to go through, like the Go Safe Act. You have all sorts of new bans, regulations, background check, registration in Illinois, new bans and new carry laws that are happening in New York, bans in New Jersey, new things happening in Colorado. I mean, all of these states that are controlled by the left, we're seeing them right now doing their absolute best to try and beat each other to completely wiping out the Second Amendment in their state. And again, even though bans and everything else are absolutely terrible, getting a permit, if you ask me, again, this is just my opinion, but if you ask me, getting a permit to purchase is just about worse than anything. Because again, it takes that right, turns it into a privilege, and a privilege that's granted by the state, and I'm not going to have any of that. So I wanted to make you guys aware of that. Again, this was presented for introduction, which means that we're going to be seeing this introduced probably early 2024, and then you're going to see that process take off. Because of the control that they have in the state legislature, there's a pretty good chance that it's going to go somewhere. We have all Democrats that have signed on to this. It's got a ton of co-sponsors, and it's all Democrats. And as a matter of fact, I don't think there's a single Republican that even attempted to put their name on it, thankfully. But that's who's going to push that through. So the likelihood of this going through on the state level, I would say, is pretty good. Would this happen on a federal level? There's just no way with current makeup. But again, these different states that have, super majority or even a majority are able to get stuff like this done. So it's worth paying attention to, because like I said, this is a trend that we're seeing across the country now, making somebody get a permit to practice right. And I like to compare this to other rights. Think about your First Amendment right. How would that stand up if you told somebody that if they wanted to speak freely, you had to first get a permit to speak freely? Now, to get that permit, you had to learn what you're allowed to say, where you're allowed to go to actually practice that free speech. You're going to have to get all this information and send it off to the government so that they know who you are. And then you're going to have to report to the government the things that you say when you say them, so that they can then overlook and have a record of everything that you say. It just wouldn't fly with the First Amendment, so it shouldn't fly with the Second Amendment. Like the Supreme Court has said, like all of us say all the time, the Second Amendment is not a second-class right and shouldn't be treated different than any other right. So again, I just wanted to let you guys know about that. We're in the extremely early stages of this, but again, in states like Washington, you've got to take this stuff seriously. So I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. You guys have a great day.